Welcome. Tonight I'm going to tell you a story about an ink blot. It's a story that happened when I was in college. I entered as a freshman with severe burnout, and that was from high school. High school, I had gotten straight A's going all the way through because I was driven, and I didn't want to break the pattern that I had created freshman year. But by senior year, I was really done with that. So when I arrived at college as a freshman, my main goal was to have fun. That was it. I want to have fun. And my motto, which I shared with a lot of people, was pass it with a D. Oops. Fortunately, I couldn't lower my standards to a D. I could tolerate a C. A B was much better. Okay. But I did get A's in classes that I was really interested in and I was willing to work on. However, as a freshman, during the first 6 weeks, the administration or the counselors or whoever they were, they monitored progress for the freshmen. They wanted to have the students have a great experience and success. And so at my 6-week meeting with my counselor, she opened with, "You're having fun, right?" Maybe not those exact words, but that was the exact meaning. And she stated it with a smile, so I responded with a smile. "Yeah, I'm having fun." She said she could tell I was having fun. The way she could tell was that I had the highest predicted grade average and the lowest actual grades. So I was having fun. At least she smiled, and actually she kind of laughed while delivering the results. But I continued having fun. My grades were good when the class was interesting, average when I didn't care about the content, and I did okay overall. I enjoyed my Bible classes and especially enjoyed learning Greek. That was fun. Greek has a wonderful system. If you ever see the conjugation of Greek verbs, you go, wow, they're very specific. So anyhow, my goal was to become a math teacher. So I thought. Math had always been my favorite subject. It was easy for me. I loved math. Okay. However, to become a math teacher, you had to take these teacher training classes. And those classes absolutely bored me to death. So, second semester, I decided, no more of these teacher training classes. I'll just change my mind. I will not become a certified teacher because I'm not going to go through those classes. So when I dropped the classes, that made college a lot more fun, which was my main goal the first year anyway. So then sophomore year began, and it began well. I enjoyed what I was learning with all the subjects. And the first semester of the second year, I completed the third semester of calculus, which was a lot of fun. Then second semester, the next math requirement was called set theory. And I thought, what is that? And maybe you think what that is. And I can't define it. But I can tell you about my experience. The turning point in college came one day when we were required to find the area of an ink blot. And I thought, why on earth would anyone need to find the area of an ink blot? So I asked. The answer? Well, you will use the skill when designing bridges. I'm positive this was just one example on how it could be applied. But my immediate thought was, I have zero interest in designing bridges. None. And just like that, the ink blot problem became my turning point. I needed to change direction, at least I thought so. It was time to take a break from school. At the end of the semester, I decided to take a break. My dad, my faithful dad, who knew me so well, he had a friend who had a computer business. And they had a 3-month technical school, and the students were trained in programming and other technical skills, computer programming. So I was given a programmer aptitude test and scored very high. I had no idea what programming was, but was assured that I would love it. So I believed them. By summer, I was learning to program computers in basic assembler language. So this was the cave years when it was just emerging, and basic assembler had a lot of ones and zeros, and that was it. That was the language, it's hexadecimal. So the cave years of the digital world was just blossoming at that time, and it was fascinating. I loved programming, by the way. It just made sense to me. So different from the ink blot world. We used key punch cards to record data, and the standard computer was 16K with storage, and it filled up a huge room, a large room, but it was fun. We had to put the key punch card through the machine multiple times to get one thing done, one process. And the break from college gave me this new skill and a new path. And I was hired by a nonprofit organization that really needed some help. Over the next several years, I created systems for recording donated products and inventory locations for all the stuff in their warehouse, donor records, and a lot of other programs. There were actually 12 different systems, but it took 150 programs of these little bits and bytes going through the computer over and over again to get all the tasks accomplished. But it was great fun. And then I decided to go back to college. I had completed 2 years, and it just seemed wrong to not finish. So there weren't any computer programs in school, no majors available in that. So I changed my major to Bible, and I really enjoyed that, and continued working as a programmer for that nonprofit. And that's how I paid my way through the last 2 years of college. So my 4-year bachelor's degree took 7 years to complete, but it was so much more enjoyable. Have you ever had an ink blot moment? A moment of clarity when you could suddenly see it's time. It's time to readjust the direction. When you knew it was time for that change. And maybe it became absolutely clear what the new direction would be. And maybe not, but you knew it was one of those moments. And I had that moment in college, but people have those moments throughout life. Sometimes they're midlife crisis, sometimes different events cause you to rethink, what am I doing? Anyhow, I am so grateful that I entered the digital world as a teenager, when that world was just beginning. It was just emerging. I chose to move in a direction that I was designed and gifted for. It was aligned with who I am, and that's so important if you're doing things that are aligned with who you are. And what I've done over the years, the digital world, the computer world, has been a core part of what I have done throughout the years. So life is an amazing journey, full of adventures, opportunities to grow. Make good use of your time. Align your choices with who you are and who you're designed and gifted to be. You'll be grateful you did. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.